Now, we've thrown around a lot of numbers here, but one thing is absolutely clear. Implying that anything like £170 billion could be raised in a windfall tax, or that one could pay for today's energy policy in full, is nothing short of misinformation. Well, we've spoken a lot about energy, and of course we'll be focusing on that later today on GB News, but other policies exist too. Yes, earlier this week, Defence Secretary Ben Wallace, who was kept in place alongside Armed Forces Minister James Heappey in Liz Truss's reshuffle, made a statement to the Commons, updating MPs on the ongoing war in Ukraine. Wallace says it's estimated that over 25,000 Russian soldiers have lost their lives. And in all, including killed, casualties, captured, and the now reported tens of thousands of Russian deserters, that number is thought to rest at over 80,000. Well, what should UK defence policy look like going into the future? How may we continue to help Ukraine? And how may we defend ourselves here at home? Well, I'm joined now by Lieutenant Colonel Stuart Crawford, defence analyst, of course. And Stuart, I suppose the first question here is, what is the state of the British Army? We have been sending a lot of help to Ukraine, of course. Has that depleted our own resources here at home?
Morning, Tom. The short answer is that the state of the British Army is pretty powerless at the moment, actually. We're still in the process of drawing down to total numbers of 72,500 personnel, which, as many other observers have pointed out, makes the British Army at its lowest level since Napoleonic times. At the same time, we've been shifting quite a lot of weapons and material to Ukraine, and they have come almost exclusively from UK stocks. And so we have to replenish those stocks. And of course, that takes time. Industry has to ramp up. In some cases, they will have to start again. Perhaps new lines will have to open in the various ammunition and weapons factories. And so the British Army is in a pretty powerless state at the moment with obsolete equipment, and it will take some time to build up the capabilities to where they should be. It's interesting that the new Prime Minister has declared the ambition of increasing the defence budget to 3% of GDP by 2030, which basically equates to another £150 billion in total being spent over the next 8 years. And that's certainly a start. Whether it's going to be enough is a question that will remain to be answered in due course.
Extraordinary amount of money, of course, and money that may not be able to be covered by a growing economy. Of course, if you fix the amount of cash that you're spending on the armed forces as a percentage of your economy, growth in that economy doesn't necessarily mean that you can spend more there. It means that perhaps spending elsewhere will have to be proportionally lower. I wonder, with all of the competing demands on public expenditure, we know that today we'll be seeing a huge amount spent to help people with energy bills. We know that there are hospital building programmes as well. Defence clearly has been put as a priority of Liz Truss in this leadership campaign. What confidence do you have that Liz Truss and Ben Wallace will continue to place an emphasis on defence in the years to come?
A good question. It's often said that there are no votes in defence, and I believe that is generally true. Certainly has been over the past 2 decades. But I think the Ukraine war has been a wake-up call for the Ministry of Defence and for British politicians and the various defence secretaries. And certainly we can't continue the way we are at the moment, allowing defence to sort of basically wither away for lack of funding. A considerable uptick in defence spending is required now. It's almost too late to have any effect on what's happening in Ukraine at the moment. But I think that it is, as you say, a question of priorities, and perhaps defence will have to move up the priority list in the face of the current climate.
Set of this sort of spending target culture is that the armed forces have been accused of, at least in the last few decades, have been accused of not being the best custodians of cash, of spending money in inefficient ways, of being fairly wasteful, particularly when it comes to procurement of equipment. I wonder whether sort of an arbitrary target of spending might well make that sort of sloshing around of cash and inefficiencies in spending, might that have the potential to make it worse? And if so, does there need to be very, very strict strings attached?
Well, that's the danger, of course. I mean, the MOD's record in defence equipment procurement is appalling, and has been since I worked in defence procurement many, many, many years ago. There is a general mismanagement of funds, tendency to try and gold plate requirements by adding on every little bit of new kit or new inventions. Military officers exercising their own personal hobby horses, which means that projects tend to run away with themselves in terms of expense. So something my great disappointment in the departure of Dominic Cummings is that he had set himself up to go through the MOD and its defence procurement executive like a dose of salts, and that's what it needs. And it's a great pity that he's not around to do that, but perhaps someone else will step up to the plate.
Yes, certainly. I know that the Defence Select Committee has been looking at this in great detail. Perhaps if with defence rising up the salience of the political agenda, so will scrutiny. But I suppose that remains to be seen. For now, Lieutenant Colonel Stuart Crawford, thank you so much for joining us on the briefing this morning.
Thank you for
just
having
finally
me.
today in the programme, the number of people in England waiting to start routine hospital treatment has risen to a new record high. A total of 6.8 million people were waiting to start treatment at the end of July, according to NHS England. Well, Catherine Forster, GB News political reporter, has got more.
Yes, that's right, Tom. These are grim figures indeed. That's 6.8 million. That's the highest number, as you said, since records began in 2007. These figures have just dropped. We've also got the A&E figures. Of course, the target is that 95% of people should be seen and processed within A&E within 4 hours. Last month in England, only 71.4% were. That's up slightly on the previous month, but still that is the second worst on record. Now, of course, we've got a new health secretary come in the shape of Therese Coffey. Liz Truss, the new Prime Minister, has made it clear that the NHS, along with the economy and energy, is a huge priority. Therese Coffey is expected to outline a plan as early as next week. We're told in Westminster the jargon is ABCD. A is for ambulance backlogs, B is for backlog, C is for care, that's social care, and then D is for doctors and dentistry. So clearly they are going to need to hit the ground running, because it's not just people worrying about how to pay their energy bills. Many people are worrying about if they call an ambulance, will it get there? How long will people wait? These are often life and death decisions. So we will watch with interest what announcements follow from Westminster.
Blitz from Liz Truss, just not just on energy, but on health too, as soon as next week. Well, Catherine Forster, thank you so much for bringing us that from St Thomas's Hospital in London. Well, coming up next, it's To The Point with Bev Turner and Mercy Moroki. But next, have a little look at the weather.
Hello there, I'm Greg Dewhurst and welcome to Thursday's forecast. We're looking at, again, another day of heavy showers across the UK, some thunderstorms possible, but there will be some sunny spells too. And you may be used to a chart like this now, low pressure dominating the weather scene for the UK. Sat right across the UK, meaning Outbreaks of heavy rain and showers for many, particularly the nearer to the centre of the low you are. And you can see those showers swirling around first thing Thursday morning across parts of Wales, the West Country, but pushing north and eastwards as we head through the morning. Some heavy downpours also first thing across Scotland, where Met Office warning is in force here for a time. Then into the afternoon, we'll see a mixture of sunny spells and showers for many of us. Showers heavy, thundery in places, some hail, disruption to travel. Temperatures generally reaching the low 20s, still warm in the southeast for the time of year, 23 or 24 as a high. Through Thursday evening, those showers continue. We do have to watch an area of heavy rain moving in off the North Sea for southern parts of Scotland and northern England. This slowly pushes its way westwards as we head overnight. Elsewhere, we'll see a mixture of clear spells and showers, perhaps showers frequent along the south coast of England, where it will be quite breezy. Brisk wind across the northeast as well. But for everyone, temperatures generally 13 to 16 Celsius. So we have this cloud across parts of Scotland, outbreaks of rain pushing its way, swirling around across into northwestern parts of England and Wales. Elsewhere, a mixture of sunny spells and showers. Showers perhaps most frequent in the east on Friday, but still some rain in the west, but less intense than what we've seen over the last few days. Brisk winds around the coast, but inland temperatures still reaching the low 20s, perhaps feeling a little fresher than it has done throughout most of this week. And into the weekend, well, we should start to see those showers ease ahead of further rain, which is likely to arrive from the southwest as we head into Sunday. And temperatures still not too bad for early September, reaching the low 20s for many of us.
We are GB News,
And we'd like to say thank you.
To each and every one of you.
helping our great nation.
Find its voice.
We're absolutely everywhere.
Across England,
Scotland, Wales
And Northern Ireland. On TV.
on radio and online.
We're proud to be
The People's Channel.
Britain's news